Episode 38 of Clear Shots is brought to you by Pinecast.com. Pinecast.com is an easy-to-use podcast hosting site that lets you post your show to the leading podcast platforms, including Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, and more. Sign up for Pinecast today using the promo code R-63F8FB to get 40% off your first 4 months, and that helps us out as well. If you have a podcast or thinking about starting a podcast, there's no better place to do it than Pinecast.com. Again, visit Pinecast.com and use the code R-63F8FB to get 40% off your first 4 months. Today's show features our old friend Bill, and we had him on the football show, if you listen to that. And today we pretty much just talk about old video games and things like that for a little over an hour. So I think we talked about like weird dreams and shit too, but I think that's pretty much it. So we'll hop right into this.
Don't give him clear shot. Don't give him clear shot. Don't give him clear shot. Don't give him clear shot.
It was Dumber Than a Box of Rocks on Howard Stern, and he had 3 porn stars on asking him trivia questions. And the first question was, what does the DC in Washington, D.C. stand for? And they had no idea. Like, one of the girls didn't even know what Washington, D.C. was. She thought it was in Washington. They're like, who lives there? And she goes, I don't know. George Washington's got to stay there, right? It's still named after him. And Howard Stern's like, well, he's dead, but you're close. And then, like, the next one...
GM.
Oh, it was GM. He goes, what does GM stand for? And one of the girls goes, Yukon Denali? The next one said Target.
Target.
What was the other one that killed me? That killed all of us. It was, who is the first lady?
Yeah.
And one of them got it. One of them said Michelle Obama.
Yeah, but they didn't even know what the first lady was.
And the first girl was like, oh, I thought you meant the name of the first lady ever.
Yeah.
And Howard is like, what the fuck are you talking about? Everybody knows what when you say the first lady, he goes, so if I said, who is the first lady of the United States right now, you would have been able to know that? She goes, no, never mind. And then we watched Battle of Wits.
Yeah, that one's a classic.
That one is Beetlejuice versus Gary the Retard with trivia questions. And just the way it starts. Beetlejuice, spell red. L-S-T-E-R. Gary the Retard, spell red. R-E-D. All right, Beetlejuice.
R-E-D.
Yeah. Beetlejuice, spell red. L-S-T-R-R. And they asked him like 3 times to spell red, and he couldn't do it. And it was just, Beetlejuice is just so good. Have you ever watched the video of like his first ever appearance on the show?
I think I have.
That one's a classic. He shows up in a white tuxedo with another midget or another dwarf. And they're literally just, they get hired in New York City to go to bachelor parties. And they do dwarf tossing. And they have them do stunts and acrobatics off of trampolines and out of catapults and stuff. And they have Beetlejuice on there, and you can tell instantly as soon as he started talking, Howard Stern was like, yup, this is the guy.
Yeah.
And Beetlejuice, like, he goes, because he has this really tiny head, and Howard Stern's like, he goes, Beetlejuice, he goes, you have a really small head. He goes, what condition is that? Beetlejuice goes, I don't know what you're talking about. I got a large head. He goes, no, you have a really small head. He goes, I got a big head. I got a head that's large. Just go on and on.
I mean, he's not wrong.
And, oh my God, he was and he loves Robin. He always flirts with her and tells her he's going to fuck her.
Yeah.
But then after his first appearance, they interviewed him as he was leaving, and they're like, Beetlejuice, he goes, are you going to be on the show again? Like, how do you feel about Howard Stern? And Beetlejuice is like, oh, I like Howard Stern. He goes, we just hang out. He looks like a little bird. We just hang out. We walk down the street looking like bananas. Birdie bananas. And it's just like...
You ever see the clip of Beetlejuice in WCW with Jeff Jarrett?
No.
Oh, you gotta look that shit up. That's just great.
I feel like I remember that, like, faintly.
He just talks shits to Jeff Jarrett for a minute and just gets smashed.
Oh, yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Hey, slap nuts.
Yeah, I gotta see if I can just find the spell red.
Such an underrated insult. Jesus Christ.
Red.
Red? L-S-T-E-R.
All right, is that your final answer?
My final answer.
All right. I think that's close enough. Okay, the judges are saying that's not exactly right. I'm going to go to Gary. Spell red.
R-E-D.
That is one right.
That is correct.
You got it right.
You gotta go back to Beetlejuice after every right answer that Gary gives.
You know? All right, I'll go to Beetlejuice first. Robin's right, because you got the last one right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Beetlejuice, I'll go to you first. Spell red.
L-E-T-E-R.
That guy is just...
That's correct. All right. All right.
Carry the retard gets it right 3 times.
You have none right. But it's only 2-0. You could come back.
I can come back with... Yeah, anytime.
Let's go to the third question. Spell red.
Spell red?
Yeah.
L-A-E-T-E-R-D.
Close, but not right. Go ahead, Gary.
R-E-D.
That is correct. All right, he's doing good. All right, Beetlejuice, let's go. Let's go again.
But yeah,
fucking
fucking
legend.
hey, he's just... Have you seen... There's one
Disconnect this shit. I don't want blow up the action on there.
where...
Fucking blow up the action. Is that Rocket League?
yeah.
No,
That
it's
is
a
right.
Twisted Metal.
There's
Whatever happened to those games, dude?
the last one they made was awful. So they're
Oh
just
yeah, they
done.
remade it, didn't they?
Yeah, and it was rated T, and there were only 3 characters. They only had Dollface, Mr. Grimm, and Sweet Tooth.
Well, they should have just remastered Twisted Metal Black.
Yeah,
Is what they should have done.
yeah.
I mean, that shit would have sold. Like, even for $20, you'd get a shit ton of money off that.
I know they ported it. They ported it to PS4, but it's just straight PS2 version. Vigilante 8. Did you ever play that game?
Yo.
That was
some
like
good
that
shit.
was like a redneck Twisted Metal.
Yo.
Like it was super cool. That one was wicked fun.
Yeah, I don't think I played that.
I remember the one thing I remember from that one was and it was literally the same thing. It might have been made by the same company. Like I wouldn't have been surprised. It was just destruction derby cars with weapons.
Yeah.
Like it was just
Yeah.
Twisted Metal. But I remember there was one guy.
I mean, it's definitely been done.
Yeah, for sure. There was one guy in the game. He was the final boss, the first one, and he had like a giant RV and an antenna, and he would just electrocute you with the antenna and like one hit kill you.
Yeah.
And I remember the only reason I saved up money to buy the second Vigilante 8 movie or Vigilante 8 game was to play as that guy, and he went from like being in a giant RV to being in like a pedo van and didn't even have that special ability anymore. And that might have been the first time where
That's
I
a
felt
nerf.
betrayed by a video game.
Yeah.
That is such a nerf.
Dude, the first one, oh man, like, there was a fucking dude with a pickup truck with, like, the RV thing in the bed,
Yep.
and his special attack was he just, like, unleashed a shit ton of bees, and it, like, picked up the car
Yeah.
in the air and just dropped it. You could just, like, shoot at it while it's helpless hovering in the air.
There's not enough games where you shoot bees. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
BioShock is the only other one I could think of.
Yeah, yeah. There was crows too. They had Murder of Crows where you'd throw crows at them.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I can't remember if it was Vigilante 8 or if it was one of the Twisted Metal games, but you were in an RV and, it was Twisted Metal. Your special ability, it was Twisted Metal Head On.
Of course it was.
Your special ability was you were in an RV, and when you hit your special, a bunch of rednecks broke the windows out of the RV with like M16s and just started shooting at everybody. Those games were so cool. I remember playing Twisted.
I feel like there's not enough games that are over the top though, like that. Anymore.
Right.
Saints Row is the only other one I can think of.
Like I feel like there needs to be a game where you just.
Destroy All Humans was like that. Destroy All Humans was
I
so
guess
good.
Saints Row was like that.
Yeah.
That's what I just said.
And I always
really
wanted
it,
to
though.
like Saints Row, but it was always, it's Grand Theft Auto, but,
Yeah, but
it doesn't feel as good to play.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It wasn't like I don't know. It didn't.
It was
have
very
like
bad mechanically.
It didn't have. Yeah, it didn't have like anything that grabbed me really.
The stories for the first two.
I mean,
were really
Just
good,
Cause,
though.
I guess, is kind of over the top.
Yeah.
But it's like with that, it's like
Human Fall Flat.
you're kind of limited in a. It's your mind is the sandbox at that
Yeah.
point, and then like you kind of just keep doing the same shit over and over, and you get bored of it.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about well, at least with Saints Row 1 and 2, they were for me at least, they were much easier stories to grasp when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I never understood the implications of anything going on in like GTA 4 when I was like 10.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like
Yeah.
Saints Row 1 and 2, it's like, okay, you're a gang member and you have to, take out the other gangs.
Yeah, that might be part of the problem too, though. Is like,
The story's very simple. It's very,
well, even with GTA, it was like I wouldn't even. When I was that young, I wasn't even playing the story. I would just
really.
load into the game and drive fucking around.
Yeah.
I remember my dad let me buy GTA 4 when I was like 11 or 12. And the only way he would let me play it is if he was with me and I only did the campaign. So I wasn't allowed to go out and kill strippers or like beat up civilians and stuff. So
I feel like that happens in the campaign.
yeah. GTA 4 was pretty dope though.
Yeah, that was
actually,
like the darkest one.
yeah.
Yeah, it was.
See, and GTA 5 is really good. I bought it again recently
Yeah.
and played the shit out of it for a while. It's feels great to play. Everything about it is spectacular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just I've done the campaign twice years ago when the game first came out, and I tried to do it again, and it was just like it's really stupid. The campaign is really dumb.
It's just really long, and it does keep it just it doesn't really stop.
The
There's
middle
not really,
the middle of the whole story is just
there's not much. Yeah, I think.
like I think as soon as the game starts out great,
Yeah.
and then Trevor comes along and it's awesome, but then you get the three of them together, and the whole point of the game was to have three separate main characters. And then you have all three of them together and you're forced to play as one and you're forced to play as the other. And, I didn't really like the fact that each character had their own arc going on with like antagonists.
Well, didn't they all have different abilities too?
Yeah. Like Trevor had rage mode.
Right.
Michael had slow motion. Franklin, had the drifting ability.
Yeah.
But I got really annoyed that like you never had Michael help out Trevor with his campaign until the very end. Like, when you have to go out and you have to kill all the antagonists.
Yeah.
You have to kill, the Chinese guy. You have to kill Steve Burns or whatever the fuck his name is. And then, Stretch. So like you had these three main stories or these three main characters that were all part of one story. And then they each had their own story alone.
Yeah.
But they never really did anything with each other until the end of the game. And that really would have made it more engaging. I mean, like I said, the first time around, I couldn't stop playing it.
Yeah.
Second
I think
time
it was
around-
like they were meant to have it like you play as these three guys that are going to meet up eventually, but it was like a matter of how they do so.
Yeah.
And what they also went through to get to that point. And
Yeah.
I think that was cool, but I think they did the right thing with having the abilities and things like that, because you got to have some kind of difference in gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also like that each player has their own wallet, basically.
Yeah.
And you can do the stock market. Once you figure that out, the game gets a lot more engaging. But then, like, you get the assassination missions with Franklin, but there's only like 5.
Right.
And those were some of the most fun you have in the game. Trying to plan out the assassinations and your escape routes and stuff. And then the heists, the heists are fun, but there's only 4 of them.
Right, yeah. Well, the thing about heists in the online mode is that you have to go through like 4 or 5 steps before you can do it, or unless you join somebody's lobby that's already doing it. And it's like their load screens and things like that in that game are just so long,
Yeah.
and lobbies are fucking long. Like it takes long to find people. It's like there's a lot of things they really should have cleaned up in that, but I also understand it. It's a big game. Like it's really a fucking big game.
By the time they actually came out with the heist, I was already done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the problem for
Yeah.
most people too. I think people came back to it and were like, "Yeah, this is cool," but then they realized there was 5 of them and how much work that goes into actually doing the heist. And then you also have to like in the lobby, you have to like choose like how much money goes to each person. So like you have to be fair about it, but you also want more because you did all those steps to set it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with it. I remember playing in college. We all had PS4s. There were 4 of us.
Yeah.
And we had all 4 TVs set up in my dorm. And we would just like fucking get drunk, get high, and just like fuck around.
I
We
would
didn't
just
even
run
do
the
missions
first one.
and stuff.
Yeah.
We
First
just
heist.
did. We would try and because you could rob the 7-Elevens. We would try and rob each one like all at once without dying. That's all we would do is start at one end of the map, rob one, escape, rob the next one, escape, over and over and over. We would do that for like an entire day, and then you end up with a shit ton of money because you get like $5,000 each time, and you're having more fun because you're not sitting in lobbies the whole time.
Yeah, you actually do
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think because you're constantly running from the cops too.
There
It's
was a
hard to
thing.
do
I
that
think
when you,
I was talking about it with when we had Graham on. I found the thing. There's a glitch where you call for a cab at a certain spot on the map, and you place your waypoint on the other side of the map. And instead of taking the highway, the cab driver takes the bike trail through the mountains, but the car doesn't fit. And if you press X or square and tell him to hurry up, he guns it
Goes
60
faster,
miles an
yeah.
hour through a mountain bike trail in the cab, and you never make it to the end. And it's just he just keeps trying to go through it. That was entertaining for like an
Can't you
afternoon.
skip the old ride like the?
Yeah, you can skip it, but if you sit there and go through it, he actually tries to go through the fucking bike lane, and it's really funny.
It's actually probably like the best part of the game.
It was pretty sweet, honestly. I did it for a solid like whole afternoon.
It's hard.
I did it for, like,
the
5
hardest thing
hours.
is robbing those fucking stores while there's cops on you.
Yeah.
Because like because you basically have to. Because the first time you can just point the gun at them and they'll pull the money out, and I think you actually get. Do you get more or less money when you do it yourself? Because I know that there's a difference. Like you get less money if
you shoot the clerk and take the cash,
Yeah.
you get less money.
Okay. Yeah. I usually let him empty it,
And then I
shoot
kill him. And then you take more
And
cash.
then yeah. And then
But then you have 4 stars instead of 3, or 3 stars instead of 2, or something like that.
But if there's cops on you, you have to just shoot them and pull the cash.
The
I've
thing-
been stuck in the back room of those a bunch of times where
Yeah.
like you're just up against the wall and the cops just keep running into the store and you just keep mowing them down.
Yeah.
Because I have like so much ammo in that game right now. Like I'm never running out of it.
Every now and then you'll like get done with a robbery and step outside and the cops have already set up shop and
Yeah.
like you didn't park close enough to the fucking front door. It's rough.
You
There's
just
nothing
get
you can do.
annihilated
Then you have to
instantly.
eat the fucking candy bars to get your health back.
Yeah.
and put on your body armor. And then sometimes you can make it. If you have that Kuruma or whatever, that armored car,
Yeah.
then you're in good shape. Because when you're driving, you won't get hit by anything.
I always use the Tesla because it goes like 0 to 60 in half a second, and it's completely silent.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just like, zzz. Yeah. I loved. It was Saints Row 2. You could put kneecappers in your car, so spikes the shit out of your tires.
Oh,
so when
yeah.
you're getting chased by the cops, you can ram into them and pop their tires and like drive them off the road.
Nice.
That's pretty awesome.
GTA 5 was really cool with their car customization too, though, for sure.
Yeah.
Have you ever played Burnout?
Takedown or Paradise.
Is that the one I was thinking of? Yeah, Burnout Takedown. Burnout 3. That one was fucking dope.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a game, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, where you could play as the cops and you'd like lay
Yeah.
out spike strips
Really?
and shit. Yeah, it was
That's
dope.
pretty sweet.
That was awesome.
I never played any of the Need for Speed games. I played
Hot Pursuit was awesome. I had that on the computer.
what was it? They just remade one of the Burnout games for Xbox One. I think it's Burnout Paradise.
Oh shit.
They
Yeah, I
remastered
think
it,
so.
and it's pretty good.
I think I played it a little bit.
Yeah, when it came out, everybody got like a 2-hour beta. Basically,
Yeah,
you could
yeah,
have the whole
that's what it
game.
was.
It was like every car was unlocked for 2 hours, and you could play like it was like a 2-hour.
Yeah, it didn't
what is
grab
a
me, dude.
trial or whatever.
I think it was like I just liked Burnout 3 because I could just. It was all about the fucking takedowns,
Yeah.
and that was the coolest part. Was just getting slow motion like. And then, like, driving up next to somebody and, like, pushing them into a pole.
Yeah.
That shit was so good.
It was.
And then they'd always flip obnoxiously. Like, it would never be, like, a fucking legit flip.
Yeah.
I just watched. There's this YouTube channel called Gamers that does documentaries on dead video game franchises, and they just released one a couple weeks ago about the Driver series. Did you guys ever play those?
Oh shit! Yep. Yeah. I played
remember
a
those
few
Yeah,
of those.
the best thing about Driver 1 was that you would spend 4 hours in the tutorial trying to figure out how to do
Yo.
how to try to do like a backwards C turn or some shit. Like,
Yeah, didn't you actually have to do a driver's test to play the game?
basically, yeah. The tutorial is one of the hardest tutorials like ever, I think.
Jesus, I just remember they had Driver San Francisco where you played as a ghost that like possessed other people,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you would have to just drive around San Francisco.
The thing about Driver was there wasn't much to it. Like,
Yeah.
it was pretty much just what it says.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool video because they talked about how Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2 were already out, and then they created Driver, and because GTA 1 and 2 were popular when they came out, and as soon as Driver came out, they were done.
Yeah.
And they thought, oh shit, we're about to be like the best, free roam, car based sandbox game.
I mean, they had it.
And then GTA 3 came out,
yeah.
Yo.
and that was it.
I
and
don't
here we
know.
are.
I don't think you could get out of your car in Driver, could you?
In the second one, you could, or no, the third one you could, and it
It's
was
not
awful.
in the first one.
Dude,
First one was
GTA
literally just
3
driving.
like changed fucking everything, dude.
Yeah.
Like everything had to be like open world sandbox for a while.
Do you remember all the shitty games that came out after that, like fucking State of Emergency,
Oh, yo.
where you just played as like a bunch of psychopaths and killed people?
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds okay.
I remember GTA
The concept.
being like blowing my mind when I was younger, because that came out when I was like 6.
Mm-hmm.
And back then I was really just playing Madden and Metal Gear Solid and like platformers. But I
The thing is,
remember-
like, if
and
you play
Resident Evil.
5, like, if you play GTA 5 a lot and you go back to 4, you're like, holy shit, this is clunky as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, how did we play this? Because even, like, when you're off, like, when you're on foot and you're moving the camera around and shit, it's totally fucking fidgety. But the driving was so much more realistic in 4
Yeah.
than it is in 5.
I love 4. 4 was great.
Mm-hmm. 5, it's so much easier to control your car, which is cool, but it's also way less realistic.
Every car feels the same kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see, just fucking?
He's
I
got the bottom
have,
like this, and then he goes, oh, like, it like slips off.
I have the smoothest knee of all time.
It's a pretty good knee.
I'm trying to think of other sandbox games that really grabbed me. Like one that really didn't was GTA 5. Or wow, Jesus fucking Christ!
that-
I am Freudian slip the person today. Metal Gear Solid 5. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And I say this as somebody that loves every single Metal Gear Solid game, even that shitty card game one for PSP, Metal Gear
Oh,
Acid.
yeah.
Yeah.
That looked pretty
But-
cool. I always thought that would be decent.
Yeah, it was okay.
What's
it was
the newest one? Isn't there a new one?
Metal Gear Solid 5 is the newest one. The Phantom Pain. Oh, Survive.
Yes.
They did Metal Gear DayZ basically, and it's awful.
I didn't play the Phantom Pain. I have it
The Phantom Pain
because it was free
is
somewhere.
probably the greatest game I've ever played mechanically, and the combat and everything works so well, but it is not Metal Gear Solid.
Right.
Like Metal Gear Solid is you are
I've only ever played the original one.
like the first one.
Yeah.
Like the first and the second one are basically the same game.
Yeah.
And you're a super soldier in
the
a
first one was on PlayStation, right?
yeah, and GameCube.
Yeah. Okay.
And the second one was on PS2.
Yeah, that's the one I played.
But the first and second one, you're like a super soldier in a compound, and you show up and you don't have weapons and you just have to sneak and maneuver and do all these crafty things to get to the next point. The third one was that same concept, but in a jungle. And then the fourth one was, like each chapter was a different area. So the first one was like Iraq. The second one was a jungle. The third one,
Another jungle. Holy shit.
yeah, the
They
third,
like jungles, don't
the
they?
third act was like England. It was like London. And then the fourth act was the same place from Metal Gear Solid 1. And then the fifth act was a battleship that you were infiltrating. So it had all this variety. But it had structure,
Right.
you know? So like, you weren't just given the keys and just free roam. And then Metal Gear Solid 5 came out and it's like there's quest markers and like there's really no cinematic cutscenes. It's the entire campaign is told to you through like fucking
So it's not
cassette
it's
tapes.
not linear at all. is
No.
what you're saying.
And they didn't even finish the game.
I played the like prelude thing to it.
Ground Zero?
Yeah, Ground Zero.
Yeah, it's a really cool, it's the same way I feel about The Witcher 3. It feels good. I don't like the combat in The Witcher, but it's feels good to play. The story is engaging, but it just there's just something there. I do like linearity. That's what I love about the Dishonored games so much is that, you know, you're in this level, you can do whatever you want, but once you beat this level, you can't come back.
Yeah.
So do whatever you can now.
I was playing SOCOM the other day, actually.
Really?
The
Like
original SOCOM.
holy shit.
Where you don't have, like, it's literally just HUD. Like, there's you don't see any weapons or anything. But it's hard as fuck. It's actually super hard. Especially nowadays when, like, the controls are totally different. Like, it just feels totally...
I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of Ghost Recon.
Yeah, Ghost Recon.
SOCOM was the Navy SEAL game, right?
Yeah. SOCOM was just a fucking crosshair, and like you'd have like a team of 4 and you could switch between the players. Like you'd have one that's like a marksman and one that's a support or whatever.
Yeah, they had a wicked cool game. It was like SOCOM Tactics or SOCOM Tactical Assault on PSP. That was like XCOM, but SOCOM.
Yeah.
Nice.
That was fucking cool as shit.
Yeah, there was... Well, I feel like SOCOM and Ghost Recon were huge back then. Ghost Recon was fucking awesome.
Dude, America was in Iraq that whole time.
Well, Ghost Recon Future Soldier was actually really cool.
That's
I
the
feel
one
like
that had that wicked crazy co-op mode, right?
you could you would have like this crazy like armor that when you would crouch you would go invisible.
Mm-hmm.
And it was basically like a stealth shooter, but like tactical at the same time. It was really cool. I actually really liked that game. That was an underrated game. I felt like kind of flew under the radar.
I just remember Wes and I getting it from GameFly and playing the split screen survival mode. And like each wave, you unlock more of the map, and you have to get to the end.
Yeah.
And you had all your abilities. Yeah, you could cloak. I remember I played as the stealth guy, and I used like DMRs, and then Jesus Christ, Wes played as this. They had the armor that was like the armor from Crysis, where you could turn it on and it would absorb bullets.
Yep.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Okay.
It seems like those third-person games are kind of dying. Like there's nothing really coming out that's anything like that.
Yeah.
And less games are coming out too because they're so expensive to make nowadays. It's a shame.
Yeah.
The PS2 era,
Army of Two was fucking sweet.
shit.
And that was a fucking third-person shooter. That
Yeah.
was like that was one of the last ones that like was really good, like solid. I feel like with Army of Two it was perfect because for couch co-op it was like you'd have one guy get the aggro and then the other dude sneak around and fucking. I would always play as fucking the fucking smaller guy there, Salem.
Mm-hmm.
It was Rios and Salem, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, that game was awesome.
I remember the second one.
Because you could co-op over online too.
I remember the second one. You can get a kid killed. You can give a kid a pistol and have him hide for you, and he hides in like a room. And if you have him hide, he kills like a guy, like an assassin that's been following you, but he dies. And if you help the kid escape, then the assassin gets to you, and you have to fight like a whole wave of fucking super soldiers or something. It was called the 40th day. The 50th day, the 40th day.
I think it was that. That's the second, or like basically the second one. I played that one too, I think, and it was free.
Yeah.
On Xbox. At some point.
Yeah, I think everybody got burnt out with cover-based shooters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a multiplayer in that too, I think. In Army of Two.
I remember
Yeah,
like
it's weird because like
Because you could melee people. Like, if you'd have to stun them, and then you could go up and, like, uppercut them or some shit.
shooters could not do cover right for the longest time.
Yeah. I think Gears of War fucking changed a lot of it, too.
yeah. And I really like the cover-based mechanics in Rainbow Six Vegas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Vegas and Vegas 2 were cool because it was a first-person game, but, like, you could take cover in third person.
Mm-hmm.
And you almost have to have that. Like, if you have any kind of cover-based thing, it has to be in third person so you can see around things.
Yeah.
I can't think of one that's first person. I actually
GTA 5.
GTA 5 you can do first person cover.
That's so awkward, too. Even, I mean, the whole first person in GTA is kind of awkward.
It's fucking creepy.
Yeah, it
I remember
was
when
like-
it first came out and
It's
felt
cool.
so real.
Like,
It's so much harder than most first-person shooters.
yeah.
Everything was.
Well, with that game,
Yes.
they have like as soon as you pull the left trigger, or like as soon as you probably right click on PC, you would snap right to the target.
Yeah. The auto
You can
aim.
turn that off, which is what you should do probably, and
I
play it.
refuse.
Because
It's
I feel
so
like
hard.
the thing is, like, if you play on servers where you're allowed to do that, everybody can kill you pretty easy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they actually have to aim at you to kill you.
Like I play with like the soft aim assist, so
Right.
like you're just kind of in the general direction.
Yeah.
Like I remember GTA 4, the aim assist was like immediately pinpointed in like center mass.
Yeah.
And if you move
Yeah.
the stick just a little bit, it immediately pings to their head.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like you literally can just aim, like you aim ADS basically, and it's immediately on the guy, and it follows him for a short, like,
Red
duration.
Dead 1 was like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where the auto aim. That game
I mean,
had-
Rockstar doesn't want to overcomplicate their shooting mechanics, I
No,
think.
especially because really when
It's
it
not
comes,
really a shooter.
No.
Like, if
it's
you
just
think
a
about it.
part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had pretty bad shooting mechanics up until even 4 was kind of dicey.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they basically, what they do is they have good driving mechanics and good shooting mechanics, and then it works.
Like a ridiculous
Yeah.
blockbuster story.
Right. And you don't need like AAA shooting mechanics and AAA driving. Like, you don't need it to be Forza Horizon and like a fucking
Like
PUBG, like,
yeah, Rainbow Six Siege.
yeah. Siege
That's a
is-
game, not Siege, but I have Game Pass for Xbox, so I have Forza Horizon 4.
Yeah. I hear that's really good.
I need to force myself to play that so badly,
Yeah.
but those games are so fucking hard. The Forza games in general are just so
I like
hard.
I still have Forza 5. That was the first game I ever got on Xbox One. I still play that.
Yeah, mine came with
I like the
Forza
motorsport
6.
games better than the Horizon
Yeah.
games, though.
Yeah, I went back and bought Forza 3. That was the only one of them I ever played that's wicked good.
I found Forza 2 for PC like a couple days ago. It was just like
Nice.
sitting around. I was like, I don't even think I've ever played this.
You know what racing game I loved? Did you
Gran
guys ever?
Turismo?
Yeah, Gran Turismo 3 is my favorite racing game of all time.
Yeah, that was
A,
so good.
A spec, where you start off and you're racing like PT Cruisers and VW Beetles, and then at the end of the game you're racing like fucking Grand Prix Indy cars and shit.
Yeah.
But I
San Francisco Rush was fucking sick for
Yes.
that
Oh,
in 64.
oh yeah,
Or Rush 2. That game was so dope because you could do stunt mode.
Yeah.
You just drive up these awkward looking ramps and like do 30 backflips and then hope you land it without exploding.
Yeah.
did you guys ever play? There's actually two. Did you play the Full Auto games? I remember
No,
I
I
got
didn't.
one of them. It was Full Auto
I've heard of
Battle,
them.
Full Auto Battlegrounds, Full Auto Battle Line, where it's a racing game. It's racing and Twisted Metal at the same time.
Oh, shit.
So you use real cars and you put actual guns and shit on them. It's like a Death Race. It's just like Death Race,
Oh, okay.
the movie with Jason Statham.
Right.
But
it's like NASCAR Rumble.
yeah, actually. But
Mario
did you ever
Kart.
play Split Second?
Yeah, yeah.
That
was,
game
Sounds familiar.
That was like the Disney one.
Yeah, that was the one where it's a regular street racer.
Yeah.
But you
get points.
You drift, you do stunts, and you get points, and you can blow up parts of the track.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
you can
okay,
like
yeah.
change the route and shit too.
Yeah.
And there's like if you build up enough points and you hold them instead of using the smaller ones, you like literally can blow up half of the fucking track and change the entire route.
Yeah, like
And,
there's one like Graham Barney and I played that game. Next time you see Graham, though, you should ask
that game
him
is
about it.
really fucking good.
Yeah.
And surprisingly enough, it's like a fucking Disney game and like no one really
And it's
recognizes
backwards
it.
compatible, and I have it, and it's so
Yeah.
fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
And it
I do
still
have
looks
it too.
so good. It looks so good
Yeah.
still.
No,
And
that- surprisingly, that's a really good
the
game.
soundtrack was awesome. All the tracks were like unique. The main
And
one,
it's not too hard to play. either.
no, not at all. And each car feels different too.
Yeah.
There's like 30 cars, but there's one track that's on an airport, and you can build up. There's there's 3 route changes. There's one where you can blow up the parking garage. So instead of having to drive through the parking garage, it's just
You go
destroyed.
around.
You
You
go
go
around
around
it.
it like to the left side of it. I
yeah.
think.
And then you can blow up the air traffic control tower and change the route. And then after you do that, you can save up another full bar of points and have a plane come down and crash into the fucking other cars.
Sometimes you hit yourself with them too, though.
Yeah.
Like you have to kind of know the triggers sometimes.
Yeah, Bill, that's a game that you should definitely check out. That's one of my favorite games
So
ever.
good. And when it's like a certain distance away from you can trigger it, but
Yeah.
the best thing to do is wait as long as you can, then trigger it so that it goes over you. Like you're past it when it happens.
Yeah, I remember I got that game because Graham and I saw it and we were watching the YouTube videos and the game.
Doesn't that have something similar to Takedown though, where it goes slow motion? It'll take when you take guys out.
It like zooms in on them and shows you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that
then
game's
there's
so
in
good.
the campaign mode. There's like the elite drivers that are like you can like you'll play on easy, but when you play the elite drivers, they're like so fucking
yeah.
bad. They're so much better than you, and their cars are way better. But I remember being so hyped for that game, and I got it. And Graham and I literally sat there. We got weed and we got Wonton House, and we sat there for like 8 hours straight playing that game. What
Back
was
when
the other
Wonton
one?
House was a thing.
Blur? Was Blur the name of the racing game? It was Mario Kart, but with real cars? Or was that Grid? No, Grid was
an actual.
Grid was an
more
actual
realistic.
racer, right?
Yeah.
Like a rally car game.
Yeah.
That was Grid. So I think it was Blur. It was.
Dirt wasn't bad either. Like the Dirt series.
You know.
Are they still making those?
They did Dirt
4
Rally
Dirt
or something,
Rally?
Yeah.
I think, and that was the last one.
What was the one for PS3 that came out?
I think they did Dirt 3 and then Dirt Rally.
Was it MotorStorm?
You
You didn't have a PS3. Did you have a PS3, Bill?
No. Motorstorm, I played a demo of that once, and it reminded me a lot of OG Burnout.
Yeah.
It was,
It was like shit, none of those games come out anymore. Like ATV Off-Road Fury.
No,
Yo.
yeah, that one was sick.
I love when
Motocross
you did the
Madness.
free mode and you go outside the map and it fucking launches you all the
Yeah.
way back.
MX versus ATV Unleashed.
Yup.
Motocross Madness was like it had a racing mode though too. I think.
There was a sequel, right? Was it Motocross Mania was the second one? Or maybe that was the first
Maybe.
one.
I don't fucking.
I remember that game was so hard because you not only had to win the motocross race, but you had to do tricks. So
Yeah.
even if you get first place, if you didn't do enough tricks, you lost. And I did not understand that when I was a kid.
Yeah, I think with the ATV Off-Road Fury games, they just fucking were so good because they were like open world too, basically. Like the
I don't
map
remember
was
ever
so
playing
big.
the game. I just remember going into free mode.
It was just a
'Cause
huge map. That's
the-
basically what it was.
The
Yeah.
entire soundtrack was like Rob Zombie and Primus.
Yeah.
Yo.
I remember there being
Jerry was a race car driver.
I remember there being like a giant like ice ramp that you would go down and then it would shoot you outwards at the end of it, and I would just keep doing that for no reason.
We're going nostalgic here. We talked about this plenty of times, but
You got to do Cordovas, dude. That's the key. Cordovas, Cordovas and backflips.
I fucking love the Bigs. That's
Yeah,
my
that game's
favorite.
cool.
That's like my favorite baseball game
yeah,
ever.
yeah, okay. I remember that.
Yeah.
And I loved it because the entire soundtrack for that game was just industrial metal. It was like Ministry and Rob Zombie and like Jane's Addiction and Drowning Pool and Marilyn Manson.
Yeah. They need a company that's like just has over the top sports games again, like Blitz and Street.
Yeah, they came out with I think it was like download only NFL Blitz reboot, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think there was. It was EA. So you couldn't hit after the whistle.
Yeah.
So they basically ruined the entire point of the game.
You know what I noticed too was that in Madden, it doesn't show when a player gets injured, it doesn't show them anymore.
It doesn't show them anymore?
Yeah, I don't know if it's just my game. Because, like, it'll be, like, injury timeout, but it won't show a guy going on the med cart or getting checked by the staff.
Or just, like, on the ground.
Like, writhing in pain.
It depends on what the injury is. Like, if it's, like, just a minor injury, like a bruised shoulder or something, it won't do anything. It'll give you the injury timeout. He'll be back in like 2 snaps.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it pops up in that bottom corner, and it'll be like, do you want to keep him in or substitute somebody? I think that's all it really does. But I think in 19, I did see someone get carted off.
Yeah, I remember
But it's most of the time it's because no one really watches that shit. They just spam A until the next fucking play happens.
I remember there was one of them where if a player got like a bad injury, they actually had an ambulance come out. Do you remember that, or am I fucking crazy?
I think it was 2K.
Was it? It was 2K. Yeah, it was like 2K5 or something like that. Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah. And if you played in Philadelphia, they threw batteries at you.
The realism, real player motion, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Every post on the Madden sub says real player motion. Like, that's the title of every single post. Because it's always videos of glitches.
Oh, man, I don't know. You learn to appreciate Madden more once you play some real trash games like Blitz the League.
Oh my god.
Dude, you would be on defense, the opponent's passing, you're lining up for the interception, and it cuts to a cutscene of the player catching the fucking ball.
That's what that one was?
That's what you're supposed to have.
What
That's the way to do it.
What was the one you loved? Backbreaker?
Backbreaker, yeah, that was cool.
Oh, shit, okay.
I tried playing that with you once,
It's
and I
so
could
hard.
not understand it at all.
It's really
It was
hard.
like a third-person shooter when you were passing the ball.
No, it's
What was the
fucking hard.
one
Yeah,
where
you
the
have
big
to
gimmick
literally
was
look.
first person?
That was ESPN football.
Okay.
2K5 had first person mode.
Yeah, because I remember playing as the Eagles back then, and Deuce Staley was just funny because it just said Deuce on his helmet.
I have 2K5 for PS2.
Nice.
And that one's fucking sick. But with Backbreaker, it was weird because you drop back and then you use your right stick to look around the field. Like, you have to literally look around the field, and then you press it up to throw.
Oh,
It's
shit.
really fucking weird. But it kind of makes it a little more realistic if you think about it. Because now you're at the same, and then the camera's on the same level as the other players, so it's not like you're seeing top down like you would in Madden.
Yeah.
Like, you can't see over certain players, so you're seeing what a quarterback would see.
Mm-hmm.
A little closer, at least. But that game's super hard because it's a physics-based... It's basically a physics engine, like...
It's a fidget spinner based game.
Yeah, it's a fidget spinner game. It's a demo for the Euphoria physics is what it kind of is. But it's really fucking cool because they actually turned it into a fucking... It's so much nicer than Madden because not every animation is like some locked in fucking animation.
Yeah.
It's different every time you tackle somebody.
Which I'm pretty sure by this point, Madden has claimed to have done at least like 5 times.
Which, then they haven't. And that's the funniest thing, is that they have not done that. Because I've seen the same tackles. I played last night, and I saw the same tackles probably 5 times.
Yeah.
I buffed Clay Matthews because he's the only one I pass rush with, and you cannot... Because of what I was saying earlier before this, there's so much scripting in Madden now that, like, as soon as you get around your block, the quarterback throws the ball because he knows that you have gotten around your block. And there's also this shit about the fucking defenses that this guy on Reddit basically proved that the defense chooses a play based on what the user has picked already.
Yeah.
So, like, it's totally broken, the fact that the defense literally knows what you're going to run. And then they defend against it. And then when you change the play, they adjust to what you change the play to.
And then the AI is trash, too. I remember the people on the Discord server I'm on, they fucking made a whole bunch of custom teams and, like, simulated games between them.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the teams had, like, a rushing quarterback, like, 99 speed. The AI would not rush with him at all.
Yeah, I don't understand. This is Madden, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I had to text my dad. Yeah, I don't understand that, especially because you'll get guys like... I'm like I said earlier, before we had the mics on, I'm still only playing 18. But I hate... For some reason, no matter what you do, your running backs are automatically running backs by committee.
Yeah.
Like, I have Zeke, who's a 99, obviously, right? For example, I'll have Zeke, and then my backup will be Rod Smith, who's like a 75.
Yeah.
And I'll simulate, a season, and it'll be, Zeke has like 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns, and then Rod Smith will have like 800 yards and like 15 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And then, like, Zeke is a runner, receiver, kind of Le'Veon Bell, LT kind of guy.
It's almost random.
And he won't fucking...
And what's weird, too, is that it seems like, for some reason, in the red zone, that HB2 shows up a lot more than my starting running back. It's
And
like, I have fucking Todd Gurley, and he's brought us down the entire fucking field 60 yards, and now when we get inside the 3, we're going to sub in
let's throw in
Jamal
TJ
Williams. Like, what the fuck is
Yeah.
going on?
Yeah. I get...
There is a slider for it.
Yeah, it's
But
the
I don't
auto
know.
subs or whatever, but I don't think it works with
I don't think it
simulations.
does anything. It's fucking weird.
Is
And,
there
like-
any way yet to, like, set up so you have, like a third down back?
Yeah.
There is.
Okay.
Yeah.
But half the time I feel like it doesn't work.
Yeah, 'cause I feel like I've never had that, like, actually work out.
Because, like, way back before the Cowboys had Zeke, they had DeMarco Murray, Darren McFadden. Oh, come on. Joseph Randall.
Because I know it's definitely an option when you go, like, after you start the game, you go to your depth chart and then you go to 3D RB or whatever.
Oh, okay, yeah. I
And
could
you
remember
can
that in, like,
change it.
the older ones, but I never noticed
Yeah.
it having any, like, real effect.
There's 19 actually has a couple of extra slots for third down, like I think wide receivers too and stuff like that.
Oh, shit, okay.
But I don't know how much they work. I just run my starters on every play,
Yeah.
I got Ted Ginn as a third receiver. So I have Cobb, Adams, and Ginn. So, like, I have decent receivers. So I don't really have to worry about, like, switching them in and out. Because the other receivers, the Packers'
It
depth
was
is not very
Lance
good.
Dunbar was the other one.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I remember way back when they had DeMarco Murray, Darren McFadden, Lance Dunbar, and all that. And Lance Dunbar is like a Darren Sproles receiver kind of guy. He's not running in between the tackles.
Yeah.
But there was no way to have him, like, unless you go through agonizingly and customize your playbooks by hand,
Yeah.
it's impossible.
I think with 19, they definitely made the running a little better. You can, like, when you're running right at a fucking lineman, you don't ram into him anymore.
Yeah.
Like, the animations are a little better, I'll say that. They definitely, like, weave their way through traffic a little bit better, and it's just their blocking AI has never been good.
Yeah.
The problem also is when you run, like, a cover 2 and you have, like, say you have a defensive back way back here and a guy here and a guy here, and then you have the receiver here in the middle. All 3 of those guys are just going to stand there and watch the guy catch the ball.
Yeah.
And then try and come up and make the tackle instead of, like, playing that receiver.
You know what really gets me too is when, say you're running like a dig, so you have like the tight end running a post route inside, and then you have the wide receiver doing that like jagged route. If you throw it, there's like a 50% chance the tight end is gonna go for the ball anyway, even though you're throwing it to circle.
Yeah, exactly.
And he'll come up and he'll either grab it
Or he'll miss
or
it
he'll
and it
fucking
gets tipped.
it's.
Yeah.
Oh, that made me so mad the other day because I went for it on 4th down and I had a beeline pass to fucking John Ross, like 20 yards down the field, and I fucking gun it, and it goes in half a second, immediately is just in Tyler Eifert's hand, 5 yards short of the first down. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
I've been using Jimmy Graham so much.
Oh, for sure.
You can just box everybody out. Just aggressive catch every single time.
I know people listening right now are probably like, I thought we were done with football. We are. We're on Madden now, bitches.
Yeah, this is Madden. This is different. I had a dream last night though with Paul.
Okay,
Paul was
yeah,
in it.
you're gonna say yours and I'm gonna do mine. It was fucked.
Paul, I don't even know what. It didn't make any sense. I was here, and there was like a balcony outside the window out there, and we were like looking out over like the hill, and it was just me and Paul. We were sitting there like talking about whatever, and a fucking like wormhole opens up in the sky, and like this black like fighter jet like comes out super slow, like wicked slow, and it comes down we were like, holy shit, what's happening? That thing's gonna crash, because it was, and it goes down wicked fucking slow, and it like just instead of like crashing and stopping, it like drug against the ground and just took out like everything, like every building that existed, and it went in a circle and it wrapped back around and came to the house, and it like stopped, like it took out the downstairs. And it just stopped there. Like, it was basically just resting downstairs.
The fuck?
Holy shit.
It made no fucking sense at all.
And it was just you and Paul?
And it was so ominous. Like, it was like the darkest fucking dream ever. Yeah, and we're watching the city get, like, torn apart by a fucking black fighter jet. It didn't make any sense.
That's amazing.
I feel like it means something, though.
It means that you and Paul are probably going to do something in D&D tonight and just like,
and we're going to destroy
blow
everything.
up the house. That's fucked.
I woke up and I was like, I'm remembering this dream because that was fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like, why? A black fighter jet coming out of a wormhole.
My dream was fucked. I had a really stressful night last night. I'm not going to get into it. It's fucking in the past. It's over now. But, so I woke up this morning at like 8:30, full on anxiety. I put a bunch of shit on Facebook and said things to people that I shouldn't have said. I'll deal with that when I have to. But,
when the time comes.
Yeah, so I scrambled to Facebook and I had like 8 notifications. I didn't even look at them. I looked at a couple. I looked at them. And then I deleted all the posts. I was like, fuck that. I shouldn't have said that. Whatever. It's fine. So I fell back asleep.
Disregard that.
Yeah, just cut that pot out, babe. Cut that pot out. And so I went back to sleep, and this is at like 11, and I woke up at 12:30, just freaking the fuck out, full on like hyperventilating. I was just freaking out when I woke up, and in my dream, it was so real. I woke up, and it was the same way I woke up this morning, and I put shorts on, put a shirt on. I went downstairs, and my parents and my sister were sitting in the living room. And they're just yelling at me about all the things I did the past week and how much of an asshole I've been and how much I've been drinking and all this other stuff. And then I realize I can't see out of my right eye. And I start freaking out. And my mom comes up to me and she goes, How are you doing this right now? Are you okay? Can you even see me? And I started to go blind. Like, my vision started to disappear. And I jumped up and I wiped my eyes and I'm barely making it. And I look in the mirror. It's funny now thinking about it. I look in the mirror and my face was Sloth from the Goonies. And I started screaming and Sloth from the Goonies came out of the mirror and grabbed me and threw me into the mirror. And then I was just stuck there and he left. And I woke up in a full on panic attack.
Holy
freaking
shit.
the fuck out, and I just laid in my bed until I came here. I didn't get out of bed till like 2:00.
Yeah, but that's because you were in the mirror. I mean, what are you gonna do once you're in the mirror?
And that's just disconcerting because I used to have chronic nightmares and stuff like that, and that's when I know I'm starting to get really stressed out because I usually don't dream, and now I have a nightmare when I take a nap. Like, that's not good. But yeah, I look in the mirror and I'm staring at Sloth from the Goonies and he fucking grabs me and
Holy shit, dude.
That's fine. I can't even understand what that would mean. Like,
I'm not gonna fucking eat a baby Ruth
gonna
tonight.
go
I'll tell you that
blind.
much.
you're for sure going blind.
I'm gonna go
one of these
blind and
days.
eat a bunch of chocolate.
You're gonna get stuck in a mirror.
Oh man, it was bad. I had like a month or so where I was having like not outright nightmares, but just like really unsettling dreams.
Mm-hmm. It happens in like chunks.
Yeah, like I had
Chunk.
one.
Baby Ruth. I
had
love
one,
chunk.
It was me and a couple other people, and we're sitting out at Rudy's, like out across the street from Rudy's at those picnic tables at parking area. And the weather starts to turn stormy, and there's like lightning off in the distance. And all of a sudden, this black, it's like ball lightning or something. It's like a lightning bolt, but it's just like staying there. And it just like comes in off of the lake. It just like rolls like towards us, fucking just being lightning, just dragging along the ground and shit.
Being lightning.
It's like a black lightning bolt or some shit, and it's just,
Was it Usain Bolt?
Did you see he's playing soccer?
oh shit, that's
Fucking
right.
rip.
We talk about that in a second.
So continue, Bill. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but no, this fucking lightning bolt just like comes like moving across the fucking ground, like just going like down the road and shit, and it was really weird. And, like it was like the second or third like weird dream I had that week that involved lightning. Like that was a recurring theme in my dreams for a while. It was fucking weird.
I think I know what that means. We have to go to Tampa Bay
True.
and watch some hockey.
Yeah, I think that's what that means.
Bill just
Do they
gets
have any black players?
Bill just gets abducted. No, they're not allowed. They're below the Mason-Dixon line.
True.
I mean, Usain Bolt is playing soccer, so he's signed with some weird fucking like the Mariners or something, some fucking weird soccer team, and he scored a goal. That's all I know.
Wait, like an American soccer team?
He's playing like fucking football.
No, like MLS.
Like no, he's playing some fucking shit league. How
must
many
be
fucking leagues are there? There's got to be a million.
Dude,
of them, right?
soccer's fucked. That's why I can't. There's like
But he's fast. He said he wanted to play football, American football.
that'd be devastating.
Dude.
He would die.
I mean, he'd be a pretty good corner.
He would die.
He'd be on Usain Island, dude. Nobody's catching on that.
He only if he
Bolt
played
Island.
only if he played for the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah,
True.
he'd be the next Revis.
That jersey would sell so well.
Yeah, it would.
Like Bolt 69. They'd let him wear an offensive lineman's
It's
number.
always 69. It's always every hypothetical football player is always number 69.
It's the sex number. Or 42. Corners can wear 42, right? Safeties can.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll give him 42. He'll be the
Corners
answer.
are usually like in
In the
the
20s,
20s
right?
or teens or whatever.
30s.
Same thing as like it's kind of like wide receiver. Like receivers can wear teens, but
Yeah.
Teens and 80s.
yeah,
Quarterbacks are 1 through
it's
19.
kind of weird. Like I don't even understand the concept. of that.
It's for eligibility for receivers, and so the referees know who each person
But sometimes
is.
you have a guy who's a fucking like a lineman that ends up being eligible as a
Yeah, you just have to
receiver.
declare him eligible.
Yeah.
That's why the Patriots and the Ravens hate each other so much, because that's how the Patriots won that one year.
Yeah.
Was they kept bringing in guys and they were marking them as eligible receivers but not throwing to them just to throw off the defense.
Yeah. In college basketball, they have it so either of the digits in your number has to be between 0 and 5. So that way the referees can signal to each other the numbers with one hand.
Yeah.
okay.
That actually makes sense. I always thought the way football does it was kind of bullshit.
It's just you got 11 guys. You got 11 guys at a time plus the other 11 for
Yeah.
the defense.
And I know in
Plus
hockey,
your special teams.
if you have a single digit number, that means you're like a captain or alternate captain, or you're just really good. Like there aren't, like Sidney Crosby's an exception, but most really, really good, and Gretzky too.
Yeah.
Most really good hockey players are in the single digits. Soccer's like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I they can wear whatever. I mean, their numbers really.
Soccer, I think your starters go 1 through 11
Yeah.
according to positions, and then your bench players are above that.
It doesn't really.
In
I don't know.
college football, it doesn't matter. You
Right,
You
yeah.
can have
Yeah.
players have the same number.
You could have like a fucking number 1 for a fucking receiver and shit. You
And
see that a
then-
lot, actually.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then NBA doesn't matter because like Russell Westbrook wears 0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andre Kirilenko, 47.
yeah,
Hey,
that's-
You don't see a lot of
47.
quarterbacks with the number
So
1.
good.
I guess Cam Newton, right?
Yeah,
He's really the only
it's a
one
lot of
I've
kickers
seen.
and punters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even like a 3, like the 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, 4.
4 is Favre and Dak to me. 2 is
I don't
Matt
really know
Ryan.
about
Yo.
2s. Is Matt Ryan 2?
hmm
2 used to be
It's a
someone
weird
else.
number.
I can't fucking think of it.
It's kind of odd looking. Just,
Yeah, there's a lot of
I guess
numbers
it
that are
depends
just
on what
off-putting.
uniform you're wearing too, like
Yeah.
how the font is and shit.
Yeah, like,
like
if
if
you're
it's
wearing-
Jokerman font, like you're
Wing Wingdings.
Like if it's
I
a-
want an XFL team to be the Wyoming Wingdings.
Yeah.
That's what their font is.
I mean, they all look good in copper plate bold. You know what I mean?
As long as nobody ever uses the Tampa Bay Buccaneers alarm clock numbers ever again,
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
their uniforms are so ugly.
Yeah.
But we're back on football. We got to stop.
we just-
That's why we do 2 shows now. What's the effort for?
They have a jersey in fucking papyrus font.
Algerian. It's just giant bold letters.
Fucking
It's almost
hieroglyphics.
6. We got to play D&D soon.
Yeah, we got to head out within like the next half hour, right?
Oh, I'd be
I don't
sick.
know what
miss
to do about
playing
this
D&D.
character. I was thinking about having a voice for my character, but I can't do it. I don't know what to do about it.
Well, my
I'm
character
not good
has
at accents.
my
either.
character has a disguise kit, and I told Brian, I go, I want to have each disguise will be a different character.
Oh, I
It's all
thought you
gonna
were just
be-
gonna have the nose with the glasses with the nose and the
That
mustache.
too, yeah.
The full kit.
It's gonna be genius. Because okay, Krusty Ass is just gonna be the healers pretty much. So I'm literally just gonna be the guy who stays at range and shoots shit through cover, and he heals me because I am basically made of glass in that game.
Oh, yeah. God, I wish I still had a fucking D&D. I almost said GTA.
You're not invited.
You're not invited to GTA. We should make a GTA
You're such a bad driver.
role playing game.
Jesus.
Create our own
Fuck.
characters.
Who the hell was I? I was talking to somebody about D&D.
So one of those guys.
Somebody
there.
at the bar yesterday, and he was like, "Oh, you're gonna do Dungeons and Dragons?" He goes, "You're gonna LARP?" And I go, "No."
Yeah, those are the same thing.
Yeah. I'm like, "No." He
You
goes,
should have said that. Yeah, because those are the same.
he goes, "Well, there's no point in playing D&D if you're not going to dress up as your character." And this is like a big jacked Mexican dude, and he just started explaining the intricacies of D&D to me.
He's got a point.
Yeah, he's like, "Well, you should dress up as your character. It lets everybody buy into it." And I'm like, "That's expensive."
Can we just dress up like a fucking 17th century French noble?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just buy Corvo's mask from Dishonored for $50,000.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure this isn't a visual thing. Like I thought this was an imagination based thing.
Show up in one of those plague doctor masks.
Oh God, those creep me out. Like the Poughkeepsie tapes.
Wait, I'm so
Movie.
confused. Where are those?
They have the beak,
Oh, the long nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are
and
sketchy.
they used
as
to
hell.
put what do they used to put in their posies?
Yeah,
They're
it sounds
always
like
white, too.
potpourri,
They're never-
some kind of shit.
Yeah.
They cover up the stench of people dying from the fucking plague.
Right, yeah. They do those in those orgy parties. Like the one in Sunny, where they're all wearing the masks. This is some half-nude buffet party.
What's the password? Orgy.
It's not what I expected, but there's a lot of food.
Another note. I do like these a lot more than the
Yeah, they're
pop
cool.
filters. I'm fucking with the microphones just as much, but it's
Yeah.
not as annoying.
Well, I feel like I can move it a little bit more freely too.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you seen Big Mouth on Netflix?
That show creeps me out.
It's
beyond
so
belief.
weird, dude. It reminds me of
Brickleberry.
Man Seeking Woman.
Yeah, that
Like
too.
it's like an animated version of that show.
For kids. Well, with
It's
kids.
not for kids at all. Like surprisingly, I don't even know. Like a lot of that shit on Netflix they can get away with, but like fucking A, they're like showing dicks and vaginas and shit in a cartoon.
Yeah, there's the one scene in like the second episode or the first episode where
they show his dick.
It shows like a 12-year-old's dick and how it's grown, and like
What the fuck?
the one 12-year-old hasn't grown into his teenage penis yet, so he still has a baby dick. And then the other one just has a throbbing bushy cock.
Yeah,
What the
it's
fuck?
Nick Kroll. He does like most of the voices. It's also got
I just saw
Rafi,
his podcast last night on Rogan.
Yeah, that's where I thought about watching it because I had seen it on Netflix a bunch of times.
Yeah, I watched a few episodes with Cody Stewart back in like May. He showed it to me. Fucking too real.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Just
I was surprised at like how like unforgiving it is. They just don't give a fuck like on that show really, which is cool because they know they can get away with that on Netflix. You know, I think that's perfect for Nick Kroll. Like that's his style anyway.
Creepy shit.
Yeah. And he's got a decent cast on there too.
That's the way he is on the League too.
Yeah.
He plays that fucking Ruxin. He's just like,
yeah.
And Rafi is great.
Rafi's fucking
John
awesome.
Mulaney is on it.
Dude, Rafi needs like his own show. Dude, Rafi and Dirty Randy needs to be a show.
That episode of the League is so fucking good. Where
Yeah, it is.
where they meet at the mental institution.
I don't know if you could get Seth Rogen to do it, but if you could get a fucking spin-off on Netflix, that show would sell so hard. People would be buying Netflix.
They kill Osama bin Laden. They're rummaging around through his bookshelves. They find one of our pornos.
I would buy a
Crotch Capers 3. He goes, there was so much cum on the walls you could climb up it like Spider-Man.
Jeez.
When are we going to fight with the knife? Bite each other's dicks off! I fucking love Rafi.
What was the one where he sits on the cocaine like toilet seat and he fucking is like, is that it's in Andre's apartment and he has a toilet seat made out of cocaine and like he comes running out and he's fucking like all psyched up and shit on it.
He's just like, I don't know what happens, but when I sit on that toilet seat, I just get filled with ideas.
Yeah. That's so good.
When they're playing paintball and he's just like, you guys ready? Yeah. Gattaca! And he runs and they're like, is he yelling Gattaca? Yeah, that movie with Ethan Hawke. Does he even know what that is? Fuck, that show was so good and then dropped fast.
Well, it disappeared too. They just stopped doing it basically.
Yeah. Well, they killed off like each character that stopped doing it. They just killed off. Like they killed off fucking Rodney's wife. They killed off Rafi and Dirty Randy. They killed off a bunch of characters, which was just weird.
I started watching it again just to go through it.
Ruxin's wife in that show is so fucking beautiful.
So yeah, I guess that's it. I guess we can call it.
Good times.
That's it. That's all she wrote. You've watched the League before, right, Bill?
Yeah. I think like a season of it or so.
The best season is when they do the draft in Vegas and they have Chad Johnson there.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
shit.
The first couple seasons are real good.
I love the episode where they're doing the draft and they're swimming. And they're like, Rafi, it's your turn. And he goes, this guy. And he throws it up there. And he goes, you already drafted 2 kickers. And he goes, I like kickers. Rest in peace to anybody with fucking headphones on listening to this shit.
Yeah.
Clear Shots is available on any of your favorite podcast platforms. ClearShotsPodcast.com is the best place to find all of our social media links. You can find us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at ClearShotsPod. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.